Great, so we're gonna get started. My name is Naomi. I teach theater at the Elevator School. I see a lot of familiar faces, which feels really great to be here. Elevator School is a pre-K through 8th grade school. I've been there for 8 years and founded the theater program there. It's my third school, the DOE.
Wow. Good morning. Hi, y'all. I'm Lindsay. I use she, her pronouns. I come here as an actress. Sorry, I'm tired all the time. Let's keep it real. No, I was most recently, I guess, on Broadway in Phantom until it closed, and then some other things in the city. But I'm a mom, and that's why my brain is. I've had a baby, and so that feels like the primary thing. But also executive director of Arts Education Organization on 39th Street. We work in all 5 boroughs here in the city, and so thrilled to be with you all this morning in that jumbled intro. Thank you.
Good morning. I think we're all operating with lots of things going on,
going
forefront and
Nothing
background of our
going on.
minds. I'm Paul Brewster McGinley, everybody. Hello. Use he, him pronouns, and I am a theater consultant working for a company called Theater Projects. I come to that work from a background in arts education, theater production, and theater administration, having worked at the Roundabout Theater for 10 years, as well as City College of New York and Disney Theatrical Group, and I was the former managing director of Trustee Sidekick Theater Company. So thrilled to be supporting these two, and need to call to attention this wild form that is a form of classroom management for this setting. We're at NYCDA today. They have it on the door. When this door closes, students are met with either, wait, class has started, you are late and will be marked absent, please wait at the door until your faculty member gives you permission to enter, or the faculty member can turn it to, stop, class has started, you may not enter and will be marked absent. Please contact your faculty member directly for missed assignments preparation for the next class. So every setting has its own culture of how it approaches this, and this in an elementary setting would be wild to me.
You would just have
Can you come down to the office? That's what you
just
get.
have 4 children in your class.
I know. Amazing. All right, so we thought we would start up on our feet and with a little game. If you would like to rise and join us, and we're gonna play. Oh, lovely. We're going to play a game of Pass the Clap. I'm sure a number of you already use this in your classrooms, but we will start with, I'll start, and I will pass the clap by making eye contact with someone and clapping. The important part is to make the eye contact first, then the clap, and then whoever receives the clap will pass it to the next person in the circle. We can go across the circle, we can go next to each other, and so that is how we will start. Any questions about the game we will play? Amazing. All right.
Oh, sorry. Talk about like not, anyway, okay.
Sorry.
Here, let's go again. Did anyone not get it yet?
Might I introduce another idea? Can we pick up the tempo with which we pass the clap? Okay. I like that. All right, here it comes. And oh,
Probably quick.
Oh, yes. That's all right. It's all good.
And, okay, very good. Well done. David, do you wanna lead us through? Okay, so has anyone done this in your classrooms already? Yeah, pass the hat, very good. And for those of you who don't, maybe this will be a tool you can bring in tomorrow. But let's talk a little bit about that exercise as we start to center the theme of this session and thinking about classroom flow, classroom management, and really setting up your learning environments for the most effective student success and positive youth development outcomes.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk, or today's session will really generalize on early childhood through upper elementary. So you can kind of think about the wide variety that you teach, or if you just want to focus on one where you're particularly struggling, you can look at today's session through that lens. It's really just here to help you. I also want to recognize and acknowledge that Lindsay and I don't have all the answers. We don't have all the answers. We've all had those days where we want to pull out our hair, and we've all had those days where we're like, yeah, that went really well. So let's think about what we can all use in this space collectively to help each other. We're here, but we don't know everything. We don't even know most things. So we're gonna just shift our attention to the question and thinking about this game, but then also shifting the conversation into your own spaces. What are some of the essential elements of classroom management that help build a safe and productive space? I'm gonna say it again. What are some of the essential elements of classroom management that help build a safe and productive space?
So maybe let's focus on the experience of the game first, and then
Yes.
we'll think a little broadly. What made the game successful? What made the game not successful? What were some of the things that we can pull from when we think about this bigger question? Yes.
One pair clapping.
One pair clapping? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
So one person making eye contact and simultaneously clapping with the person they made eye contact with. No words.
No worries. Yeah. Thank you.
Clear direction.
Yeah.
Clear, simple, straightforward direction. Easy to follow.
I think that one person, two person clapping at the same time is a reflection of a shared agreement. So that's a rule, we're all playing together, so let's do that. Shared agreement.
Like, we're gonna get for real, we've all done it before, and we also understand the expectations, even at the minutia level of
Yes.
how do you do the eye contact.
It's not a game of elimination, so you get an infinite amount of time to keep trying. I would have added a rule, and I said like make no apologies. So the only rule is you can't say I'm sorry, right? Or something like that. Yeah.
Love that. That's great. Yeah.
We weren't having our own conversations. We were talking.
Speaking from experience?
Yeah.
When I do this with my
I didn't know it
kids,
was
we just go in the
possible.
circle,
Uh-huh.
because usually that's about what they're at. Sending it is too much, but they even just trying to keep it going,
Yeah.
it change.
But thinking about too, what did Lindsay do as a facilitator to make the space safe, productive, and to make that game
No
successful?
judgment. She's not judging, and you're doing wrong.
Right.
It's just-
There was never a, no, you messed up. You just kept going.
There was a routine established that she presents the activity and then we do it until she stops.
Scaffolding.
What could I have done better is also a great question.
She started it herself, too.
And an open space. Sometimes in the classrooms, we're working amongst tables and chairs. That makes it,
She had her own space to work.
yes, open space. Playing space or stage.
But not too big.
Yeah.
Because if
Then
it's too big,
They run around.
Yeah.
If we think outside of this activity, and thank you for scribing, let's think larger and pull in your own creative genius and experiences. So what are the essential elements of classroom management that help build a safe and productive space from your experiences? Yeah.
Respect and rapport.
Respect and rapport. Can you say more about that? How to develop that?
There was underlying agreement amongst all of us that we were supporting each other. So like even if we're in a classroom setting and somebody messes up, and a student calls another student out on that, stopping that in the moment and being like, hey, we don't do that here. Actually, we celebrate our faith.
I'm just kind of building on what she was saying, just like establishing that classroom community. I always tell my kids we are a family first and foremost, and there are no mistakes here. Like, I'm learning with you, and I want us to all always feel comfortable with one another.
Something that resonates with me that I picked up from a different meeting some of us go to during the week here, but we had a recent instructor and he said, like, I accept all offers. So, and that meaning that, like, whatever the student is giving you, you're accepting that, maybe requesting they add something or try something the next time they do it, but that, like, it's never like a face like, oh no, you're not quite on the mark, right? Accepting the fact that they're giving something and taking that, yeah.
To add on to what you were saying, that makes me think of like the most important principle of improv and theater, which is yes, I am.
The students got to go like basically immediate. It was just really quick showing the teacher, so it wasn't like over listening for us as the participants, and it was a whole group, and I feel like the wholeness that people are talking about was like actually done immediately in the game.
Oh, sorry. I was like waiting for someone to call my name. You don't know my name.
What is your name?
Violet.
Violet.
I forgot what Oh, responsibility. That's a big deal at my school, responsibility, and it means a lot of different things. The way I do it in class is you have a responsibility to your fellow classmates. From day one, I brought them in and I was just like, we're an acting troupe. So when we're in here, everything is one unit. So I don't remember what I said, but I didn't say this, but it was like this. I was like, we are only as strong as our weakest link. So everything is done as a team. So if one kid is messing around and goofing off, it reflects on everybody. So that responsibility seems to help them.
Yeah, or collective responsibility.
Going off of responsibility, buy-in is something that I've been trying with my students, and sometimes it's just explaining to them why. So, because when you have young people in New York City or anywhere, you're just in someone else's space, and you're young, and you're just told to do something. Telling them why is simply just respect and giving them the agency and responsibility to pass the clap. You know.
What is buy-in?
Oh, sorry, I'm eating yogurt. Buy-in is like a reason why you would do something. So like if I'm in a class, like before just saying, oh, we're gonna pass the clap, I'd be like, oh, we're gonna pass the clap because this helps us build our ensemble. And we're building an ensemble because we have a holiday show in a month. Yeah, like that.
Every time I say that to my kids, I wish it worked. I wish it worked.
I never said it worked.
I say that to them every time. I wish it worked.
I think we're gonna hit it again. So let's just move forward.
You also ask that everybody gather a clap. So that's kind of inclusion. Because my students will cry if they don't get a turn, like lower grades. So I make sure everybody get a turn. I even try to get a fair turn that make big difference for them.
Or just making the expectation clear if not everyone is getting a turn.
Yeah,
Saying
I have
we have time
to
for 3
explain
more people to go. We have time for 2 more, giving them the chance to prepare.
Yeah.
Just today is not everyone's going to get a chance.
Yeah, because they take it personally sometimes. They think it's not because they're not doing good enough, or they have their own explanation. So making it more clear.
Yeah, that's great.
And I noticed, Naomi, you did that in that moment, you said, who has not had a chance? And then we made sure to get that person, and then I think the whole group, at least myself, I'm like, oh, right. And we can also continue to include who has not been getting it frequently. There's a lot of really good stuff up here to build off of, and I think, you know, for me, it's always the constant reminder of those very clear and simple games that are the foundation of so many complex ideas and ways of working, but setting up that this is how the ensemble moves, and the leaning into the rehearsal process and leaning into the modalities that we have as theater makers together, treating young people with that sort of gravitas and showing them the reason why, like, just starts to, when you talk to them like humans, they are humans back, in my experience.
Absolutely. So speaking of, we're gonna, what we would love to do is to have you all go into an intern visitation, but we can't do that. So I sort of brought my classroom here as a taste of some of this. And like Lindsay said, some of it is done well and some of it is not done well. And it's a real life situation. You're gonna see a first grade ICT class, so partial general ed, partial special ed. And then we're gonna talk through the sound for the fourth grade ICT class after lunch is not great. So I'm gonna talk through moments in that. But as you're watching, be watching for some of the things that we mentioned, right? What are you noticing, some challenges? What are you noticing? Specific choices that were made or questions that you might have about how routine specifically was created in the space, how repetition comes up in the space, how agreements come up in the space, transitions, scaffolding, and time management. And I will write those things up on a chart paper so that you can be thinking about those as you're watching. Actually, Lindsay or Paul, do you mind writing that down?
Yeah, can you say it
Time
one more
stamp.
time
I got
as well?
I got you. Conversation. Liz got it.
Yeah, right at the moment that we don't need that, but we'll see if it works.
So I'm gonna stick around again. This is a first grade ICT class. We're gonna watch the first handful of moments. What you're seeing is just the opening intro that happens every class. So about the first 10 to 15 minutes of every class are the same for this class. And this is October 16th, so about a month into the school year by the time that I had these kiddos, and I see them twice a week.
And we are looking for, one more time,
And we are looking
examples
for examples of routine, repetition, classroom agreements, transitions, scaffolding, and time management.
Great.
That's helpful. Routine, repetition. And we'll put it up here too. Okay. Doing my classroom practice here.
give a little context of what's happening here. So this is a class management tool called like a prize reveal chart. The chart is already made, but the 3 goals that students select are things that they want to work on, and it's presented at the beginning of the year as something that we really struggle with, something that doesn't come easily, something that we need to get better at. And so as I or my student teacher or the classroom para notices that students are doing those things, we invite 2 students who are star helpers. Those are, they get a little badge and they're maybe asked to demo a game. They're maybe asked to hand out something. They're maybe asked to pull down a Post-it, something that gives them a special responsibility, but then also for me as the educator, right, gives me an opportunity to get to know the student a little bit more on a deeper level. Because I can one-to-one interact with them. Do they want to take a leadership role, or do they want to step back? Do they have, when given the opportunity, do they want to take on extra responsibility, or do they want to step back? And both are fine. It just gives me an opportunity when I'm speaking to a parent or a teacher. I get to really know this student, even though I only get to see them for 45 minutes, twice a week, in the past once a week. So that's what's happening here. And you can see that there's buy-in here from the students because they selected their goals.
For ourselves is, I believe keep your body to yourself. Keep your body to yourself. Who remembers our pink goal? Our pink goal. Ruby. Can you say that? Be nice. Excellent. And our blue goal. This one has a little ear on it. Our blue goal. Sorry. Listening when others are talking. Let's see how many we can earn today. We're going to start with our little song. Someone tell me one thing that used to happen during our little song. Robin. Big frog voice. Let's say it. Big frog voice. What else needs to happen, Patrice? Let's say it.
A lot of them have had them since pre-K, have been doing this hello song, have been doing these 3 things since pre-K. I hadn't had them since pre-K, kindergarten, but it's something that they know really well and something they can always pull from the year before, and having that familiar from years past helps us be able to push further as we move forward.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, when you heard the first one with big, strong voice, what are the other things they're saying?
Eye contact and say hello to everyone.
Okay,
Mm-hmm. And we'll take questions about specific things too later. So if you have them, that's okay. Write them down, and I'll take some time and come to that.
To you, and you, and you. around and say, great job, self. Great job, self. Such a great job. We are ready to say our names with our emotions. So a reminder, you're going to use your face and your body to show what you are feeling today. You might be feeling sad. You might be feeling happy. You might be feeling confused. What else might you be feeling today? What else might you be feeling today? You feel what? Oh, like spotty? Ooh, so you might feel like spotty. Can we try that? What else might you be feeling like? Edward. You might be feeling happy you said that. Well, what else? What else, David? Good. Energetic? Hyper. You say that? Hyper. Excellent. If you get stuck for one that you might be feeling, you have a list up there of emotions that you might pick from, like frustrated, or excited, or jealous, or tired, or David hyper, or mad. So you're going to say your name using your face and your voice and your body, and we will echo. I will start. Are you ready? Naomi. Dash, or would you like to do next? Go. Billy. And just for context, their name and emotion around the circle, it's a great way to do a check-in just to see where they're at that day, what happened before, what they did that morning, what has gone on before coming into my space, and maybe how they're feeling about being in the space today. And it grew directly out of another routine that we've had until this moment, which is just saying their name around the circle and having everyone echo in unison. We are moving into a unit on Actors Toolbox where they're using their face, their voice, their body, their imagination. So this feeds from name, just saying their name, into layering in some of what the unit that we're working on. And then we've been sitting a very long time. So now we're going to get moving.
This will be the first thing.
All right, yes, and there's a moment in the last. So 15, 43. So we've just done a very high energy game. We've had a lot of kids moving around. We've had everyone moving around. And then we've got to bring it back to now start working on our lesson for the day. Wiggle your toes inside your shoes, gun weaver. Your fingers to the side.
And that's a way to take back their energy from this high energy place back into a calm, right? Give them a place to put their energy specifically in their bodies to refocus themselves, to get back into a space where we can listen and start to move into I do, we do, independent practice of the unit that we're working on. We're gonna forego the upper elementary, but it's very similar to this. It's just scaffolded up for them. But they come in, they have a very specific intro activity. My fourth graders are coming from lunch, so we start with a mindful moment, calm music, lights are off, deep breaths. Then they move into a game that we always do, that they're kind of working, they're working together to set goals for themselves and then achieve those goals. And then we move into our class lesson. It's a bit shorter for the fourth graders. It's about 7 to 9 minutes. I would say the early childhood, their first intro is about 15 minutes or so. 15 minutes of routine, and then the rest half hour of class is new material and practicing old material. So I'm going to toss it over to Paul and Lindsay to reply.
I got you.
Great.
First of all, thank you for sharing your classroom with us. Yes, seriously. Thank you. So I want us to look at routine, repetition, classroom agreements, or as I like to call them, classroom inspirations, transitions, and scaffolding, and ask you all, what did you see? What did you notice? What did you wonder? What do you have questions about? And let's take like 10 minutes or so to just debrief the demo that we got to see. So what did you see? What did you notice? What did you wonder? Yeah.
Well, when they first entered, they were tiptoeing to the instructor gadget, and it was a great way to get them in, and they knew that they needed to walk around the red circle, and I loved that.
Beautiful. That was great. Thank you. Yes.
Same moment, so it was an opportunity for a teacher to connect with students as they were passing by. It got them engaged in a fun activity right away, so you weren't met with 1,000 questions of, I need the bathroom. But I just wondered, what do you do if they're coming with like coats and lunch boxes and stuff like that? For them to be able to still do.
As they're tiptoeing, they just drop them off along that black wall and just keep going. It's
Okay.
built into their sneak.
They just tiptoe with their stuff as they put it.
Yep.
Okay.
Before they come in, I say take off your jackets, hold your lunch boxes, tiptoe, drop them off, and keep going.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And for, like, when you're visiting other classrooms and, you know, you don't really have the space to make the circle, do you just kind of like have them just stand in their own spot and do the tiptoeing?
It depends if I have the space. I don't often. Our classrooms are very, very small, and I'm lucky that I have my own space. I'm only really ever pushing in if there's like a very specific special reason. If I am pushing in, sometimes they're already in the meeting area, so there's not really a need, and we just jump into the hello song. That's why the routine is so helpful, because it starts them off as if they were in the space, and we're not in the space. So really, this is just a way to get them logistically into the space in a safe way. And someone had mentioned before about, I think it was you, about having a big open space. So that is what I have, a big open space. And so you'll notice that there are some supports there specifically for students to make the space smaller, to control it, to give students a designated space to be in, but it's not just a wide open room.
Right, I love the other circle on the floor.
It's just gaff tape. Just gaff, so
Yeah, I
much
was gonna
gaff.
say, as a traveling teaching artist, I've used spike tape or masking tape, as well as just the spots. Even if I don't have a spot for every person, which ideally I have enough spots for all of the participants, and then with the youngest ones in particular, we get the number of spots to match the number of bodies so that we have that. But those are able to just flop right down as opposed to like something that's more permanently installed. Yeah.
The poly spots, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I find when I've done it, they're so distracting.
Yeah.
They can be.
And even like tape peeling.
The tape gets peeled. It's Marina's number one job.
Yes.
Gaff tape though. The gaff tape
It does get peeled.
It does, but I will say it lasts it's much stronger than what I used to use, which is floor tape.
Okay.
Peter gave out a bunch of gaff tape a couple years ago, and I have just gone through those rolls of gaff tape.
Okay. And janitors don't, the choices don't like to say it's on the floor.
No, it just comes up. It doesn't leave any sort of sticky residue. So.
Oh, Lindsay, there's so many options.
I know.
There's so many hands.
I'll go for it.
Oh, no, I love your STAR goal system. That's something really, really cool. My school, I'm a push-in. I don't have a space of my own, and it's very tight, it's very confined. And also, when I come into the classrooms a lot, there's arguments, there's drama, it's every grade level. I have a very small population, they all know each other. And we do charters, we do all that stuff. All the classroom teachers have that at the beginning of the year. I'm one of only 3 clusters. So when I go in there, the first thing they do, they rush up to me, "You're never gonna believe what Johnny just said to me in the last period. You're not gonna believe that he did it." And I'm just like, okay guys, let's take it out. Take it down a little bit. I love that idea. And do you pre-establish the goals on the stars for them to pick?
They came up with that in the first.
Oh, they come up, okay.
So the Post-its and colors are already chosen, but the Post-its are blank.
Okay.
And each Post-it coincides, they set 3 goals for themselves. Once they've cleared the chart, they get whatever prize is beneath.
Nice.
And then we start again.
Does every class then have a separate chart?
They do. They do, yes.
Naomi, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was one of Naomi's student teachers last year, so I saw this class when they were kindergartners.
Are you like so
I was
impressed?
recognizing the students, and I remember the ones who, as kindergartners, they would come in and it was time to sneak, and they were tearing around the room. And so my question is, how did you do that? Because I remember spending 3 months in your classroom, and like Idris and David were just going around and screaming, and now here they are, like as first graders, following that routine.
Can you add day 1 to that? Because that's what I'm wondering. Day 1, they have to come in first.
You know what? It's like, and I told Marina about this.
Yeah.
When we walked in the beginning of the year, I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jamie knows, some of these kids last year, they were destroying the room. Before they would walk into the room, I was lucky that I had a handful of student teachers. We would like secure the space with them. They were in kindergarten. We would like lock down, like blocking off stools, blocking off what are those called? Carts, because there would be kids that were like climbing up carts.
And they would climb the shelving.
I'm gonna say it's routine.
Okay.
It's they came in at the beginning of the year and they knew what to expect, and finally something that feels familiar. I just walked into a first grade class, everything is new. I have to read, I have writing, I have this, I have that. Oh, I know what this is. This feels safe. I'm gonna say that's what it is, because it is a totally different class this year. And we just kept with that routine last year, even though we kind of scrapped curriculum for that specific kindergarten class. The intro was always, always, always the same. And so falling into the safety as routine, I think, is what helped with these kids.
I think we have time for 2 more hands. Yes.
Okay, so I have 2 questions, but they're basically the same question. So, first, so our school is basically all ICT classes. A, how do you get the Paras to stay? Yeah. I'm always alone in a classroom with 25 students who are both dual language and ICT. Like, how do you get the Paras to stay?
I don't know about, it's just an expectation in our school, their kid needs the most support when they're not in the classroom and when they're in an unfamiliar space. So paras in our school are not taking lunch when they're in a special class, and they're not taking lunch when the kid's at lunch.
Okay.
And the kid is out of the classroom, the para's not to take lunch.
Okay.
And I also make it a really distinct, I give the paras a role in the very beginning of the year, and I make them part of the class. Sometimes they want to sit outside the circle and just like chill, and I invite them in, hey, you say your name too. Hey, what's your dance move today? And they feel a little silly and they feel a little self-conscious, and it's gonna be okay. And they just do it. We're all part of the class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to the parents then.
Yeah. And you can also touch base with them before the class starts, so it's not like in the moment when you've got like children pulling at you and asking you questions. Hey, by the way, like this is what we're doing in class tomorrow. Do you mind helping me with X?
I think it's that our parents take prep when the teachers take prep, which they're not supposed to do, but they do anyway. It's like, I don't even know most of the parents. I've never seen them.
That's hard.
But anyway, so like I said, I've had a situation. I have not seen one class for 4 straight weeks because our schedule changes all the time.
Me too.
So I'm struggling really hard with establishing these routines. I don't know, do you have any advice or?
Just do it again and again, and if it's boring for you, it's not boring for them. Like, there are so many times this year when I said, I am so bored, I just want to move on with my curriculum, but I know that I can't, because I will never get anywhere in my curriculum unless we do this again. And it's not for me, it's for them.
So more questions like, how do you get administration to believe that? How do you?
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah.
One more, Naomi, you pick.
Oh, goodness, I don't
It's
know.
about the setting. You have, I'm sorry, but I took it. You have a circle.
I did.
You have a circle and a square.
So I have a circle that is where everyone stands, and that's pre-K through 8th grade.
Oh,
Where they stand when they enter and before they exit.
And
then the squares are groups around the space. The space is kind of divided into 6 groups. It's also stage directions. And it's also 2 stickers by the door where they line up.
So you're a pre-K,
I'm pre-K to 8th grade. And I will
That's
say,
gonna be
like, the
my school next
structures in pre-K are very similar to the structures in 8th grade. Because
I believe it.
hormones.
What age do they speak though? Is a Pink Panther a
2nd grade. Early childhood.
pre-K through 2?
Correct. I don't make my 8th graders. That would be correct.
It's great song choice though.
They love.
Grapes. What am I doing now? Where are we? Great. We are going to now head into some self-selection. Where do you feel like you need some support? Where do you feel like you would like some time and space to brainstorm for your own spaces? And we're gonna say, head into this next portion with, where do I need support? And what do I want it to look like? What's my vision of success? Not, this is hard, this one doesn't show up, this one doesn't. What an ideal world, what do I want this to be? And then how can we get there? Just give me 1 second. So you'll notice that there are 5 charts around the room. Time management, planning and flow, preparation and scaffolding, routines and transitions, managing new or mixed group classrooms. At each chart, there will be a scenario. Probably something you've experienced before. It's real life scenarios. You're going to discuss those scenarios, and there's some discussion prompts underneath. And then we're not going to have a chance to share full out because we're going to do 2 rotations. 2 or 3,
We'll see.
2 or 3 rotations, probably 2. And we'll do a gallery walk at the end. So whatever you're charting, try to make it accessible for others who are not part of your conversation. And you're going to self-select where do you feel like you would like some support in your space. Again, I'm going to say time management, planning and flow, preparation and scaffolding, routines and transitions, managing new or mixed group classrooms.
And we'll aim for like 3 to 4 folks per group, okay? So, how about
Let's break this into 1-step directions, which is choose a space to go to, which you're feeling like you want to have your first conversation. You're going to have maybe 2 or 3, depending on how many rounds we have. Once we get everybody to that spot, you will receive one of these scenarios, and then you will receive the marker. So please move to the one that you're most interested in first.
I don't know what energy as a thing of scaffolding. Like I always think academically, but like when you do
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I finished in May. What? Yes, that's oh my God. Planning and flow? Okay. I go to May. Yes.
I think we can just do 1 per.
1 per. I printed out 2. Just got it. But 1 per.
May. Yes, this passing.
Got it. So you're going to do that. Yes, in May.
Next May.
Yeah, I have to do my secondary student teaching there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, I know. So John.
Yes. Sorry, I saw your hand. What? I just wanted to say hi, guys. I'm good. How are you? Are we wanting to send some people preparation?
That would be good.
So that's round 2.
How are you?
I'm just ending.
Oh my gosh, I'm no. I'm giving you a no.
No more. Okay.
No, I have my own class. I do both. Parents have new students, like a buddy system.
I struggle with this a lot. My students are very much either they're into it or they're not.
They're not,
And the
right.
ones that are not into it, they are very, very disruptive. Even when I try to do
Are they the older students?
mostly the old, well, I have an interesting mix. It really for me it is across the board. I have K to 5. It's across the board. My veteran performers, they love it. They're into it. Whatever I do, they're willing to go through. The new students that come in, if they've never had an arts class before in any type, because I teach social studies through the arts. So it's not just a true theater class anymore, so I have to integrate. So I find that they'll just sit there with their notebook and won't get out. I saw one of the students on there. They didn't want to get up, and I said, okay, but he wasn't being disruptive. Those students are great. I always go over to them and come in.
What I have them do is I ask them questions. Are you going to be quiet or are you going to run around? And if they say run around, I'm like, okay, I'll wait till we say we're going to be quiet. And then I say why? And then someone raises their hand. And then I'll just go through each time, like, oh, are we going to sit down in a seat or are we going to run around the classroom? Why? So I ask questions before we enter the room, I guess.
Right, and by asking the why, you're getting them to like think about, to get the buy.
They create their own expectations. If they can't back up a bad reason, then you're not going to go in the classroom, you know?
Also, one thing that I did, because I am really struggling with routines and transitions, especially when scaffolding. Like scaffolding the lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you scaffold when you don't have space?
Yeah. I think
When I'm looking, what I want is equity. I want everyone to have a voice and everyone to have a positive experience.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally.
So what are my moves?
I think, well, first and foremost, more than anything, and this is like a big thing that we just discussed with like Shisha, and I'm in that classroom every day, so I really see it. I think that routine being established is so huge, especially to ensure that there's a moment of everybody that is on the same page and at the same level. Like, for example, when her kids
Can they be on the same level
when
they're not on the same level?
Sure. So doing something,
Doing your part to kind of reinforce even just the routine before I can move on to the part of my lesson, right? So that for me has become a challenge because I can see that as a week. So sometimes,
We have about 2 minutes left. If you haven't started charting, please start charting.
So that would be hard.
Well, I always am overambitious with the planning, and then
So am I.
I get excited, and then I'm thinking that I do like classwork, so like, so I guess, I give myself time to make sure I'm sitting like within the
So visually show that, okay, now we're going on.
I use my Star Helpers to help them demo, and then I let them demo, and then I break them through so there's stickers up. So yes, I break them off into groups, and they do something different, or pairs, and they do something different practice. And they're always on the floor, they're not like at a desk. It's like a totally foreign concept to me, you know? I like really feel for people with desks. It's just like so not good. And now they're like,
And then I go back to
that was my school. It was very traditional.
they're not even ready to
I just feel much more understanding and much more so that's what I really feel like. But there are ways
So like if I'm gonna incorporate writing, different meanings for the prompts. So green will be like if you need to express an opinion. Yellow will be if you have a question. Red is baffled, right? And then for sometimes sometimes red is not. I have to mix it up. Sometimes red is I'm so angry that I'm gonna mention it. I work out I don't at least I don't think exactly. Yeah.
I'm taking solace in the fact that this particular one was an accident. The other ones,
Agendas. Please take the next 10 seconds to scribe any final thoughts that are up on that topic for this prompt. Then, leave the scenario, leave the marker, take yourself to the next conversation of interest, and you'll have another 5-minute rotation there. Read the scenario, brainstorm, add to the next poster, but you're gonna do that with just moving your body to the next one. So please take the next few moments and finish up your last thoughts and then move to the next space. Off we go.
Let's see.
To wherever you want.
okay, Marty.
I get connected.
How's that hard time management?
Oh, you can't hear that.
So time management, the scenario is you're teaching a 45-minute class with students who are highly energetic and love performing. However, they often get off tasks, and you struggle to cover all that.
Energetic class.
To cover all lesson components in one session. You've noticed that transitioning from warm-ups to scene work takes longer than expected, cutting into rehearsal time. So that our discussion prompts, how might you streamline transitions? What techniques can help keep students on track without cutting down?
It actually takes like 5 or 6. Even though I'm being very thorough. Even though I'm like, this is the one goal that we were working on. It takes 6 classes.
I'm slower and have an action. I don't want to rushing through. I mean, I guess like you have a performance, so you have like a deadline kind of, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's better to go slower and have them actually understand things than just like.
Yeah, it is.
We've got.
You always want to try to plan for like those misconceptions or gaps that might be happening, how much time is really needed, try to, you know.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm facing 2 types of classes, and one type of class I can use word responses are really helpful. I feel even like
Kindergarten is first grade, first grade, the second grade sort of like, okay, they get it, they know by that point. And really for the uppers, what I deal with is just the drama. That's what it is, it's just the drama, not in class, what is happening beforehand. So they know the routines, they know the transitions, they know what to do, but they're so hyped up of the drama that's going on in the classroom. So I always walk in and ask the teacher, what do I need to know? What's happening today? Is everybody in a good space? You know, to what we were looking at over there, where they were doing the check-in.
If there's kids that more from class and speak the same language, if the kid is into English, paired up, like if there's 2 Spanish speaking students, one's different Spanish. If that's possible, I don't know if it's simply.
No, I'm thinking, because that's,
Pair stronger, pair ELL student with bilingual student, or almost bilingual student. The
Like plan language support with dual
Well, there's two different things in my way of thinking it is like planning the supports is like that's on you, which should be for the most part because you don't want to. It's fine to like casually be like, okay, you're gonna be in this group, but it's not like you're her translator. So it's two different, maybe grouping them with that in mind, but then also having the Spanish cognate or whatever like available. Like, I mean, I've always worked at a bilingual school, Spanish bilingual, and everything we write is in both languages. So I mean, not everything, because I speak Spanish, but not that fluently, so I can't always do it on the go. But like if it's pre-planned, like the vocabulary and the objective, all teachers write those in both languages. Picture visuals.
Well, the rest of them are going to start to the floor
It's hard. So it all comes down to support. If you don't have,
They know that they need to be sitting on that red line, and almost every class, there's more it's like, stand up, move over here because their friend is distracting them, but at least it's like their position in a way. Exactly.
So once they're there, I do an emotional check-in. So as I'm checking, are you in your right spot? I say their name and then they give me a thumbs up, depending on how their brain is going. So I don't have to do that. But I'm not like, it means that's a great thing for me to be doing because it can take but I want them in there.
Say how long it's taken to get right?
Yeah, when you're in the circle, coming to the circle, what has worked in the past for our school is a boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, because they don't want to be next to the opposite sex. So that has worked as far as conversation.
I did that. Yeah, I shove it out at them. Or anyone saying like, what do you need? Like, what can I do for you to like make this more achievable for them? That's difficult.
I'm not saying that always works.
At least we have.
It's the only tool that we have.
Yeah.
We have to speak up for
Definitely. Definitely. She seems like she's in a great school. So
No request to transfer.
And like also I feel for my adjuncts, like let's just give them something to just not possible.
Yes.
I know. Not even enough space for them to stand up. That's crazy.
It's true. Because when
The students moved it and we had playing
Here we are. And wrap your conversation by giving yourselves a round of applause. Take the last few moments. If there's anything from your conversation that should be scribed, scribe it now. Scribe any last thoughts to that conversation. And then listen to Lindsay from me. Okay, great. So friends, we are going to now shift this into a gallery walk first, and then a discussion to follow, okay? A disco to follow. I think that we could gallery walk in the form of a disco. That might take our mind off things for today. So disco your way around the room, whatever that looks like to you. And we are going to just take a look at what's there. You can pop into those scenarios that you didn't get a chance to look at. If a new thought occurs to you, add it to the chart. We're going to take 5 minutes in this disco gallery walk.
There's something that resonates, put a check or a circle or an underline. Singing.
I would get past 19 and go, can you please be quiet? I get frustrated.
I love that so much. I always find weirdly enough that kids' response to sort of nonsense things that make sense. Like I always just say to them like, you better don't. And like for some reason they're like,
Oh, so you have their attention.
yeah, like,
oh, that's a good idea.
I don't know why, but like that works way better than like, don't do that. It's like, you better don't. Singular other adult in the room. Yes. So you just be very I got little finger puppets for oh, yeah. And I'm bringing a drawing station. Oh, great. So yeah, I got and then he has one for one. It's good at the first very at times, yeah. I'm 150. Yeah, we have very similar.
Yeah, where are you? I'm in the Bronx. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm in the Bronx.
Gotcha. Nice. Like I'm matching it to.
Following track. You said you set the expectations and it's lacking in regards to
Oh, right.
it's such a wide graphic that
I lived in New Hampshire, but I never knew that I don't live in City. And then I was brought up there.
Yeah, because I'm like that kindergarten. I have 3 of those. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like with the trees filtering, I like. Is that what he's usually like now? Like, is that his more normal? Or was that just a good day?
I started the year
Which is just a surprisingly nice
When you're in an ICT class, like you have to then work with what who's giving you and kind of let the others or give them a specific job. Like I always I'm like, who's going to be my stage manager? And they have to yell like places actors, you know, the actors say like, I have an assistant director who does action.
Because it's just so,
you know, so that like I can try to keep like just right. And it's like usually the same people have always those roles because they're that student.
I don't want to do that, you know, I want them to all get the same thing. Yeah, I even had that little maybe
I will
you know, maybe in the kids, I always give it to kids and I'm like, alright, you can try this,
Let's come to a standing circle. Standing circle. Disco your way to a standing circle. Standing circle.
I'm like, that's not how that works.
That's a good win.
This store.
All right, everybody, find yourself in actor neutral, ready to go.
Actor neutral, ready to go.
Got to see that in Naomi's video earlier. Let's return to our Pass the Clap that we started the session with. As you receive the clap, we're just going to offer one new idea I'm thinking about that I'm going to take back to my classroom to try in the next week. It can be the teeny tiniest thing. It could be something you thought of. It can be something that you were offered. It can be something you observed from Naomi. One thing that I'm going to try in the next week based on what I just experienced over the last hour. So I'm going to give you a moment to think of what that might be. Let me know with a thumbs up when you have it. Great. And if you're still thinking on it, that's okay. If you change your mind or blank, that's okay. We'll come back to you. But I'm going to start passing the clap right here. Oh, what's one thing that you're going to take?
Well, now it'll be listening more closely to instructions. Prior, it was cutting down on transition time by using a lot of counting and stuff like that.
Eye contact and pass the clap.
Class mantra.
The singing introductory emotion song thing, I really like that.
Thinking about small groups and how to have all students engaged simultaneously.
Yeah, I loved the Pink Panther song. I'm definitely gonna try that next time I need to get students into spots. Just making things fun and whimsical.
I'm thinking about bringing in Naomi for professional development for my teaching artists on classroom management.
I really like My Hands Are High, My Hands Are Low. I don't know the song, but I'm gonna, I gotta get it from you. I really like that.
Smaller rehearsal groups.
Keep the flow, even though I have to deal with a lot of personal issue. So how can I keep the flow while I'm dealing with their issue at the same time, instead of just stop the class and do the issue and come back. But I have to figure out a way to do that. Yeah.
Less is more.
I just need like little jingles. I'm a tech theater background, so I don't have any jingles. I can't come up with them, so if anybody has a good jingle, you know where to find me.
Raise your hand if you're yet to go.
Yeah.
I will be using Pass the Clap amongst other goodies that I saw in the Plan and Flow. Raise your hand if you have.
Patience while I and students get used to transitions routines. Who has it going?
I'm going to include more student leadership roles.
Planning and flow for effective time management. Who hasn't gone?
I really love that Pink Panther sneak.
Pass the clap and actors. I don't know that one already. Because I'm not an actor, so.
It surprised me.
Yeah, so there's 1, 2.
Okay, I'm going to also try the Pink Panther and trying to work on maybe doing a little songs to help with the flow, so that we can bring them back together, so I can move from the routines maybe onto the actual lesson of the day.
The entering transition music. So it's whatever the Pink Panther thing, but I'm just getting ideas of like how to get them to their seats and into the circle, which is always like the biggest challenge, just getting into a circle.
And I'm thinking a lot about the active voice that I noticed in your facilitation. I am going to this, we are going to that. This is what's happening next. And they were all statements, they were not questions, because questions, the answer can be no. And the answer was like, this is happening.
Tell, don't tell.
Great, so I'll toss to Lindsay for any final words.
Thank you. Well, thank you all so much. I think we can pass the copy on.